Breaking news on the escalating trade tensions between long-standing allies, as we witness a significant shift in North American economic relations. I'm bringing you the latest on President Trump's controversial 25% tariff decision that's reshaping our international trade landscape. Let me put this in perspective. For generations, the United States, Canada, and the European Union have been more than just trading partners. They've been the backbone of the global economy. But today, we're seeing cracks in this foundation that could change everything. Here's what you need to know. President Trump's administration has implemented a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports, citing national security concerns under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act. This move affects billions in trade and impacts everything from cars to construction projects. The numbers tell a striking story. The U.S. imports 23% of its steel needs, but depends on foreign sources for 80% of our aluminum. Canada is our biggest supplier. We're essentially putting tariffs on our closest neighbor and most reliable trading partner. What's particularly concerning is our domestic aluminum production. In 2 decades, we've seen a dramatic decline, from 3.7 million metric tons in 2000 to 670,000 metric tons in 2024. That's an 82% drop. The administration argues this is about national security and protecting American industry. But these tariffs are hitting our closest allies, the very partners we rely on for our defense and manufacturing sectors. Canada, Mexico, South Korea, and Brazil, countries that were previously exempt, are now caught in this economic crossfire. The response has been swift and significant. Canada, particularly, isn't taking this lying down. Our northern neighbors have launched what many are calling. In a dramatic escalation of international trade tensions, Canada and the European Union are mounting strong opposition to the United States' recent decision to impose substantial tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. This development has sparked what experts are calling a trade war among allies. The Canadian government has forcefully condemned the U.S. move as totally unjustified, particularly given Canada's crucial role in American defense and industrial sectors. In a bold countermove, Canada has announced retaliatory tariffs targeting specific U.S. products, including bourbon whiskey, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and denim jeans. The significance of this trade dispute is exemplified by the Alcoa Baie-Comeau aluminum smelter in Quebec, a cornerstone supplier to U.S. industries. This facility demonstrates the deep economic integration between the two nations, providing essential materials for U.S. military equipment and manufacturing. The European Union has joined Canada in presenting a united front against these tariffs. European leaders, including German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron, have denounced the measures as unlawful and economically harmful. The EU previously imposed retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods in 2018, targeting products like whiskey, motorcycles, and orange juice. The economic stakes are particularly high for Germany, which exports over 1 million tons of specialized steel to the U.S. annually. EU officials warn that these tariffs could trigger increased costs for U.S. consumers, potentially fueling inflation and disrupting supply chains. Industry analysts warn this dispute threatens decades of economic partnerships. The U.S. defense sector relies heavily on Canadian aluminum and European steel for critical manufacturing. Experts caution about potential long-term damage to international trade relationships and the global economy. Good evening. I'm bringing you crucial developments in the ongoing global trade tensions reshaping international commerce. President Trump's implementation of 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports has sparked what experts call a seismic shift in worldwide trade relations. The story reveals economic consequences that directly affect your wallet. These tariffs, aimed at protecting American industry, are creating ripple effects leading to higher prices on everyday items, from cars to home improvement materials. The European Union and Canada have launched retaliatory measures, creating a domino effect in global markets. American manufacturers depending on imported materials report increased costs, which will likely be passed to consumers. Countries in Asia and Latin America are seeking alternative trading partners, potentially diminishing America's global commerce dominance. This shift could alter how international business is conducted for decades. The president's recent proclamation in the Oval Office, doubling down on these tariffs, signals his commitment to this approach, despite opposition from traditional allies. Sources suggest this is part of a strategy to leverage American economic power for better trade terms. Industry experts warn of consequences. Manufacturing costs are expected to rise, impacting job creation in key sectors. The automotive industry, construction, and defense contractors are particularly vulnerable. Trump's stance as a protector of American industry remains firm, even as international tensions escalate. This development suggests we're entering a new era of global trade relations, where traditional partnerships are tested and new alliances may emerge. Keep following our coverage as we track these developments and their impact on your financial future. Breaking news: global trade alliances at critical crossroads. In a development shaking international commerce, we're witnessing the most significant reshaping of global trade alliances since World War II. The story focuses on the growing rift between longtime partners that's sending shockwaves through the international community. The United States faces a crucial diplomatic challenge as Canada and the European Union explore alternative partnerships. The 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum have triggered what experts call a seismic shift in international relations. We're seeing a fundamental realignment of global trade patterns, says Dr. James Morrison, senior economist at Georgetown University. Traditional allies are now looking eastward for new opportunities. Sources reveal that Brussels is pursuing stronger ties with Asian markets, while Canada strengthens Pacific trade relationships. This pivot could leave American industries increasingly isolated. As China and Russia watch from the sidelines, they're positioning themselves to fill any vacuum left by declining Western trade cooperation. The region bordering Russia has become a battleground for this shifting dynamic. Pentagon officials express concern about security implications. When we lose our closest allies in trade, we risk more than economic partnerships, says former Defense Secretary William Cohen. American companies relying on Canadian aluminum and European steel report increased costs, with some considering overseas relocation. Recent polls show 67% of American business leaders believe these tensions could lead to permanent changes in international commerce. Treasury Department analysis suggests continued isolation could result in a 3% decline in GDP growth over 5 years. All eyes are on Washington as international partners wait to see whether diplomacy or division will define global trade's future. The next few months could determine whether decades-old alliances survive this test of economic nationalism.